Pastor Katie.
Pastor Jabe.
We have finally made it out of January.
Yes, it was the longest January I can remember.
It felt like it was like 3 months. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
With 3 winter weather events. I don't know if that helped make it feel longer or what, but that was a long month.
It was.
Yeah.
I think that did impact the feeling. Of
Yeah.
it.
So we're in February now.
We are.
Yeah.
February 6th?
Yeah.
7th? What's today? Today's the 7th.
Yeah. Do you know how to spell February?
February.
Yeah. It's a running joke in my household of how to spell January and February and which one gets the R and which one doesn't. Because, January, but it's not.
No.
It's January and it's February.
Is it just one of you that commonly makes that spelling error? Or
No comment.
Okay.
No comment. We'll leave it at that. So, February's a short month, but it's also a month with a lot of things going on.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing is this holiday that we call Valentine's Day. So, let's talk about Valentine's Day.
Let's.
Yeah. Give us a little history on Valentine's Day.
Yes, I did some research. We celebrate Saint Valentine on Valentine's Day, who was a 3rd century priest, martyred for being a bold witness of God's unfailing love. And he secretly performed Christian weddings, which is how he came to be associated with romantic love. So we celebrate on January 14th, the day that he was executed.
That's nice.
Yeah. But so we remember God's unfailing love, and nowadays we also associate it much more with romantic love. And I think you have a word about that.
Well, I'm very appreciative of that history because you've educated me a lot on Saint Valentine just with that little snippet of information there. The fact that we celebrate Valentine's Day on the day that he was martyred is kind of morbid.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that it has turned into this thing where it's more of a Hallmark kind of holiday,
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to a more genuine type of thing is bothersome to me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a fan of Hallmark holidays in general, and especially this one. And it's nothing against love or Cupid or any other thing, which you didn't provide any Cupid history, which I find troublesome.
Next time.
Next time.
Next February?
Yeah, next February. We'll have something to talk about next February. The origins of Cupid. But it's just any holiday that is marketed is problematic for me. And guess what? All holidays are now marketed,
yes.
which is a problem. But yeah, I'm not a fan of the Hallmark holidays and the holidays in which you feel inclined to buy people stuff just because it's a particular day.
Yeah.
So
Amber shouldn't expect flowers or...
Some years,
Yeah.
I feel more inclined to go with the flow than others.
Okay.
And this year, I'm feeling kind of inclined.
Okay.
Yeah, keeping up with the Joneses.
Okay.
Yeah. What is an ideal Valentine's present?
Oh, good question. I think flowers are always a good go-to.
I think so too. Flowers, I like flowers. Flowers are beautiful. Usually, if I get anything for Valentine's Day, it's something that I ask for specifically, like I could use a sleeve of golf balls.
Yeah.
So.
Romantic.
Yeah. So, Pastor Katie and I expect that after people watch this video that her office will be full of flowers and mine will be full of golf balls.
Yes.
Yeah, because we're all of your Valentine.
Yes. Send us your love.
Yeah. They do a good job of that. But
Absolutely.
So we talked about the history of Valentine's. February is also Black History Month.
Yes.
And it's a month where we celebrate Black excellence throughout history. And a lot of times I feel as if we highlight figures that are already well known. People like Dr. King, people like famous actors. There are a lot of other folks who are worth talking about. one I talked about in our book video, which a lot of you watched, and we're very grateful for that. But I talked about Howard Thurman, and I just want to mention his name again because he's such a prominent influence on people like Dr. King, but you don't hear about him. So Howard Thurman was actually kind of the chaplain, or the pastor even, the pastor of the civil rights leaders. So he wasn't a figure who was out front and marching and doing these things, but he was the pastor to those who were. And so Dr. King's whole approach to nonviolence was actually formed by Dr. Thurman, which makes his role way more significant than people realize. So.
And you read a beautiful meditation of Thurman's at our Saturday service.
Yeah, it's a good meditation. Yeah, a lull in the rhythm of doing. Yeah, so he's deeply profound as a kind of a mystic writer, but he also played a tremendous role in the history of the civil rights movement. Another figure that a lot of folks don't realize was a prominent member in the movement was somebody who has the same name as one of my children, and that's Ella Baker. Ella Baker was a North Carolinian, and she was a force in the civil rights movement. And I actually went on a tour of her hometown that's in North Carolina, and the name of the town's I can't think of it. Yeah, I can't think of it. But her family, so her descendants, she didn't have any children, but she had some nieces, I believe. And one of the nieces invited us into her home where we shared a meal. And it was just, it was one of the greatest moments of hospitality in my life, being there with Ella Baker's family. So if you don't know about Ella Baker, there's a book called Freedom Bound, and it's basically her biography. And it's worth reading. A North Carolinian who played a big part. Big part.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I also wanted to mention two Black women that we may or may not already know about. One of them is Katie Cannon, who was the first woman ordained in the Presbyterian Church, what's now PCUSA.
Right.
And she, along with Alice Walker, founded womanist theology, which is this branch of theology that really narrows in on the intersection between race and gender, kind of as a corrective to feminist theology not really considering race, and Black theology not always considering gender, and how those intersect and impact our experiences.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm way more familiar with Alice Walker than I am Kate Cannon, and that's interesting that so they are talking about the same thing.
I believe so.
Yeah, that's awesome, and also curious how I'm more familiar with one of them than I am the other, which I guess that happens sometimes depending on where you're learning and who you're learning from.
Yep.
Which reminds me, one of the greatest teachers I've ever known is Dr. Greg Ellison, who I studied under at Candler, and just a phenomenal teacher. And he's actually the one that really got my interest in Dr. Thurman peaked.
Okay.
You know, and so, and also his perspectives on just the church today, and also influencing people into having healthy conversations with one another on matters such as race. Dr. Ellison's done great work there, and actually wrote a book, going back to our book conversations, called Fearless Dialogues, that is kind of a blueprint for how we have conversations, tough conversations on matters of race.
Oh yeah,
and so
hard.
Yeah,
That's so important.
Yeah, so even though he's not necessarily a historical figure, I do want to lift up his name today as somebody who's really formed me in deep ways, in one of the most formative people in my life. So I celebrate him.
That's so cool.
Yeah. One other thing in February that we must talk about,
Yes.
because we are Americans. It is
Big holiday.
way bigger holiday than Valentine's, and it is also for some a worship experience.
For better or for worse.
For better or for worse, and that's the Super Bowl. And so I know that you're a bit of a football expert.
Oh, yes.
Yes. A bit
Basically a professional football fan. Professional fan.
Professional fan, yeah. Because I know you're a big fan because when we were talking about this and I said something about Cincinnati, you said, which one are they?
Yep.
So, so your fandom is apparent. Who are you picking to win and why? And what is the score that you predict? Now, and be mindful, you have influence over a lot of people because you are a pastor.
Yes.
Never forget that.
Make sure you guys tune in, listen closely.
Right. So you have a lot of influence, and I'm not naming names, but I know that we have a few people in the church who may or may not place wagers on things like this. So your words are going to highly influence what happens. So
right.
Who are you picking, why, and what score?
I won't steer you guys wrong. I am picking the Bengals because I read somewhere online that the Rams are favored to win, and my grandma Bonnie would always root for the underdog. So I'm going to root for the underdog and say Bengals. And my pick for their score is 20-17 because I also read somewhere online that is the most common score in professional football. 269 times that's been the score. So I think that's a good, bet.
I love your researcher's heart with the history of St. Valentine and the history of football scores. It's just...
that's where I get all my expertise.
Yeah,
from,
you're good at it.
Yep, other experts.
Yeah, you're good at it. You are. You're really good at it, and I envy that. So I, too, will pick the Bengals.
Okay.
And they're from Cincinnati.
Oh, okay.
Okay, yeah. And I'm picking them also because I have a heart for the underdog. And I really love their quarterback. His name is Joe Burrow.
Okay.
And little known fact, there have been two other quarterbacks named Joe who both won the college football national championship and the Super Bowl.
Okay.
So there's only been two who's ever done it, and their names were both Joe.
So there's got to be a third coming up.
Joe Namath, Joe Montana.
Okay.
And so Joe Burrow has already won the college football national championship. I'm saying he's going to be the third Joe to win both. So the three Joes will be elite unto themselves. And I'm also calling it a 3-point game. Okay. But my score's a little higher. 30-27, the Bengals and Joe Burrow.
All right. Place your bets.
Or don't, because, it's probably not good for you to do. But if you were...
Methodist of you to
it's not Methodist.
No,
it's definitely not Methodist. We're not condoning it, but if you're going to do it, we gave you the answers.
Yep.
All right? All right. Thanks, Pastor Katie.
Thank you.
All right.